Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with a Black Demon Slayer guide for old school RuneScape in my endless journey to make as many Slayer guides as possible, help out the med-level Slayers out there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure to leave a like and let me know what else you'd like to see in the future down below in a comment. Feel free to let others know also any tips that you have for the Slayer task, if there's any personal things that you like to do, and beyond that, I have other links that you can check me out below if you would like to. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the guide. So we start off with the question that I answer in every Slayer guide, and that is, should you kill them? Personally, I believe so. Most every Slayer guide I make, I'm going to say you should, but the reason why is that they're just great XP. I mean, in terms of, if you're using an Arclight, then they're going to be insanely good, especially at high levels. Early on, they can be a bit slow and annoying, so maybe for some of the very beginner Slayers, you might not want to, but eventually it will be something you work in. I feel like it'll be a more doable task than a lot of the other ones that you're going to want to skip, no doubt. And beyond that, it is also cannonable and a really AFK task. So personally, I'm a fan of both of those things, and so all three of these things combined makes this a pretty doable task for me. In terms of the requirements, I would say 60s in your combat stats, mostly attack and strength, defense doesn't really matter, and then in terms of prayer, 43 is going to be necessary. There's just no way you're killing these things without prayer early on, unless you want to come here with range or mage. You can do that any level, but it's going to be extremely slow to finish off a full task, so I wouldn't recommend it, but you can if you'd like. In terms of what Black Demons are weak to, they're weak to everything equally. They're not necessarily extremely weak because their base defense is kind of high, but they don't have anything that they're more weak to than another type of attack style, so you don't have to worry about that. Their attack style is going to be melee, so that's what we'll be praying, and that's why safe spots are nice, and their max hit is 16 or 17 depending on the variation of Black Demon. In terms of what to expect, there is a 1 in 335 drop rate for the totem pieces, so not really that crazy for the totem pieces, but a Konar key is 1 in 85, which is actually really, really good, and a hard clue is 1 in 128, which also is a pretty good rate. So if you like hard clues, if you like Konar, then this might be a little bit better, and the overall GP per kill comes out to about 900, but you won't be collecting all that, so it's probably closer to like 700 or so. So not anything astounding, but a little bit of something to pay back for, the prayer pots that you're using. And then here's a few different melee setups that you can use. On the left hand side is the kind of earlier setup, and on the far right hand side it's kind of the later setup. I have a nice little Infernal Cape, as you can tell there, looking all good, but if you need any of those item names, they are listed below the setups. Overall, these are pretty similar setups, essentially just going for maxing out your DPS along with just having prayer based gear that's going to allow your prey to stay up a little longer. So that's basically what you're going to be looking for there. In terms of what weapon you want to use, I mean, really whichever one you have and that you feel comfortable using and that trains the stats that you like, just use it. You don't need to have a special weapon for this one unless you want to use the Arclight. That is going to be best in slot here because these are demons, but at this point in the game and in the future, there's just going to be so many demons in the game that I don't know where you're going to personally want to use your Arclight at, but if you want to use it here, by all means, feel free. And then I'll throw up a few things of alternative gear that you could be using. I wouldn't really recommend any of these things. I think that Black Demons are a task better done with melee, but if you want to, you can check out any of those and maybe safe spot or get through a task or two if you need to, but beyond that, I would definitely recommend just getting your melees up and coming here with like a D-Sim or a whip whenever you get the chance. And then finally, in terms of the sweaty rates and what you can expect if you're just try-harding, with base 70s in your attack and strength, you're going to be expecting about 19k Slayer XP per hour. This is with an Arclight, so it will be about 10-15% slower with a whip or D-Sim or whatever you're using. 85s is going to get you 23k Slayer XP per hour. Max Melee can get you 28k Slayer XP per hour, and Piety and max melee will get you up to 35k Slayer XP per hour. If you want the combat XP for any of these, just multiply these rates times 4 and you'll get the attack or strength or defense XP that you're training. And then as far as the inventory and how to get there and whatnot, as far as what I'll be bringing a teleport to a Slayer Master, a teleport to my house, because it's a nice little spot for a lot of, med high level players to kind of transport around the game. I have a Xerix Talisman to get to the Catacombs. I also have some boosting tier with the Super Combats, an Herb Sack to pick up herbs, and some high alch runes. You don't need the high alch runes and you don't need the herb sack. You can bring them if they want. I'm also on lunars, but I'm not going to be high alching right now, so just ignore it, all right? But for the spot that I think most people are going to kill them, you're going to want to make your way on over to Xeric's Heart or the Catacombs of Kourend. You can do this in a few different ways. There is a house telly down here, and you can run from there. There's a Xeric's Talisman telly right there as well, and you can also just take the boat here and move on west from there. I'm guessing at this point in the game you already know, but always nice to cover it. And then from there, go ahead and just go inside the catacombs. Here, it's going to be multi, so that's, I mean, I would always just pray melee, but in multi especially, there's just no way you're getting out of here if you're not praying melee. So you'll just run on to the east, you'll see some moss giants and then some ghosts, and you'll find your way on over to lesser demons and black demons. There's like a little lesser demon that just runs in here and is kind of a nuisance, but other than that, it's a pretty good time. It's somewhat packed here, I would say. I mean, you can definitely fit 2 people in a world, but you'll often see maybe someone safe spotting over there along with another person. Just hop until you find a world, and it is, I mean, a pretty nice spot because there's just so many of them. They're so close, and whenever you want to re-aggro, I just run over here. It's a really close like re-aggro zone. You basically like walk in this doorway and you'll be fine. So in terms of if you're trying to safe spot, like I mentioned before, there is a little safe spot over here. Just stand back here in the corner. They can't get back in here and you'll be okay. So I mean, this is where I think most people are going to be doing their Black Demon tasks, but if you're not into that, there are a few alternative places that you can go. Another place that I would imagine is pretty prominent is the Taverley Dungeon. You can get here just a little bit west of the Falador Teleport, a bank right there, so you can kind of supply up along the way. And from there, you're just going to want to make your way on down. Having a higher agility level will help here because you'll be able to pass through kind of the first little maze of the whole place. But if you don't have the agility level to be able to maneuver, which is 65 with a Summer Pie or 70 without, if you don't have that, you will need a Dusty key, so keep that in mind. You can get one through the back over there by doing the little prison thing. I think most people know how to do it, but if not, I mean, it's a real simple thing. You just kill a guy, talk to a guy, and off you go. And so once you end up making your way on through most of the Taverley Dungeon, past the blue dragons, you will see over here are a ton of black demons, and there are a ton. So you should be able to find a spot no matter where you are. Most people are going to cannon right over here, which is where I would recommend anyone to cannon. The other spots are just a little bit more difficult and not as open. So just throw down the cannon there, and like before, pray melee, you'll be good to go. Here, I don't really have a place that I stand or do my thing at. You can't really kind of move these around and stack them up on 2-hit spots. It's just really, really difficult because they're just, I mean, enormous monsters that just take up too much space. So I just kind of hang out and let the cannon do the work for me in terms of aggroing, and you'll be good to go getting that easy XP with your Arclight. And then finally, the only other spot I could see people going and like choosing for fun, not because Konar told you to or whatever, would be the Chasm of Fire on the Great Kourend. To get there, just use the Fairy Ring DJR, and I'll be doing this from my house, but just bring a Drummond Staff and go to your local Fairy Ring and you'll be okay. From there, northwest is where you're going to want to go, and then go down that little rope right there to enter the chasm, and off you go. On the top level, there will be some lessers. On the med level, there will be some greaters, and on the bottom, you guessed it, there will be black demons. So that's where we're going to make our way to. You just want to go down the first level and then run around to the other side. Then once you're over here, once you go on down, you'll see a nice little layer of black demons. From what I saw up there, this place is also cannonable. I've never really killed anything down here. Other than on like an Iron Man and whatnot, because I don't know. I mean, comparing it to the Taverley Dungeon like we just saw, it's just there's not as many, and if there are, they're definitely just more spaced out. So it would be harder to keep up the same type of aggression with the monsters that you were, hoping for that you got with the Taverley Dungeon. So it's a possibility if you want to come here, if you have alternative reasons to. But for the most part, I think people will kind of stick between the 2 main spots, and yeah, I mean, ultimately, that is going to be it for the Black Demon Guide. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to let me know, anything you want to see from me, let me know in a comment down below. And on top of that, if you guys want to see more videos like this, as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. And with that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and peace.